You know, we are not just living in interesting times, but in times that try men's souls. A notorious terrorist leader, Kachalla Baleri, boasts that his gang had bought weapons with the new Naira notes, even when Nigerians legitimately battled to get them from commercial banks. He, Baleri, audaciously flaunts the new notes in a viral video. But the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has given the nod for over-the-counter withdrawals to point-of-sale, that's POS operators, who may charge 10% of such withdrawals. Now let's share the video of the terrorist leader with you first. Watch this.
Duk wannan kabilanci sun kasa to ba zai magana abin da a cikin Najeriya ba sai dai an tsaya ai domin Allah da Annabi shine zai tsaya magana abin da a cikin Najeriya. Kaga an dawo ne talaka ne wasu basu ji basu gani ba an ce za a canza kuɗi a yi to shi wani talaka ma bai sa abin da a canjin kuɗi wani ma a waye gari bai da 10,000 sai ya sa ya ta waye ya je ya nema sannan ya samu ya harkar gaba ne. To shi wanda adda miliyoyin kuɗi cikin gari an ce za a canza ai kaga hayar waje kaga ta koma wannan kan tsakanin su ne. To yanzu wani nan ma in ka bincika ka ji cikin ɗan Najeriya wani ma da a cikin dajin kuɗin ma da suke nufi suna canzawa ne to wani ma da a ciki ko wani ma kuɗin ma bai same su ba amma kaga kuɗin da ake nufi yan ta'adda ne kaga kuɗin sun zo hannunsu kaga wannan suna nuhin 1,000 ce wannan suna nuhin 200 ce jikka guda ma'ana da wasu kuma ya data to sannu da suke gani wannan an gwada masa kaɗan ne daga ciki dangance da ɓangaren irin waɗannan ma yanzu to buhuhuwa waɗanda an gare mu Allah ɗaya san iyakarsu waɗannan ma da an gare su to sun dawo hannunmu ne wannan daga ciki ne yanzu kaga har mun sai makamai da su ne waɗanda za mu yaƙe su ne muna saurara abin da za su ƙara faɗi yanzu ta kan ɓangaren haka nan ne mu abin mu da muke yi domin Allah da Annabi muke yi ba mu yi don gwamnati ko don wani ne ko don mi muna yi ne domin Allah da Annabi da talakawan da muke tare da su
Jide, only in Nigeria.
Yes. He said they don't want us to have access to these new notes, but we have them. By this, we are telling them that this will not put an end to insecurity in Nigeria. He said people in the towns, they can't lay their hands on new notes, but look at us. We're in the forest. We have been able to lay our hands on the new notes. That these are just a few of the new notes, that we have.
Yeah,
and he said that they bought weapons even with the new notes.
Yeah.
So if we said, one of the reasons that they gave for doing this is that it will stop terrorism, banditry, and all that. But you can see this bandit leader already has new notes.
Defeated.
New notes that you and I do not
struggling.
have. I know many people have come to me to say, Jide, do you have new notes? I'm not a bank MD. Where will I get new notes? To even go to the bank now, you have to think twice because fight may break out there. So I don't have new notes. But here is a bandit brandishing new notes.
Emeka, do you call it audacity or, as I said earlier on, we dropped the ball somewhere?
Well, I believe the security agencies will investigate and trace how these guys got this money. I also look at it that, ours is such a loose society that certain things can slip through well laid out plans, like Naira notes. For instance, people have been claiming that, politicians have a lot of these notes, that bank managers gave out these notes to big men and all of that. We even heard of people selling the new Naira notes in the market. So why wouldn't they lay their hands on notes? If there are bank officials sabotaging the system, all they need to do is to get the money from such illicit vendors of Naira notes. Or otherwise, they could pose as agents of these bank officials who want to sell notes and lay their hands on the notes.
Does it not tell you that these terrorists, these bandits live amongst us?
Of course, he said,
intermingle. They come to town.
Of course, it's an open.
And we know them.
Well, when you say we know them, it's not because I don't know them, but it's possible for them to have people, to have errand boys who could have gone to the POS to withdraw the money, and they came out.
Not POS.
This
is not.
No, sorry, not. I'm talking of the ATM. Sorry, I mean ATM. Who could have gone to the ATM?
You can't withdraw ATM.
So,
you can't withdraw 10 million.
I'm looking at one
ATM.
side of it. Then the other side of 10 million. Well, that needs to be really investigated.
Oh,
the security agencies need to investigate to be sure that they are not just putting out
I'm tempted.
You see, Emeka, you appear to think that things are so well sewn up in our country.
No.
Because you are assuming that these boys are bluffing. No.
I don't assume it.
It is the poor people.
Yes.
It is the poor people who are suffering. They also said that there is the poor people that is this suffering is only the poor people that can suffer. These boys, they are millionaires. They have access to good money. They buy very expensive weapons. One of them was even boasting that he bought this armor personnel carrier. You know how much one costs? They have money. People who have money, the kind of money at the disposal of these guys, can bribe their way through anything.
Yeah, through any bank. Yeah.
They could even have agents even in some of the banks.
Wow.
So why won't 10 million come out? What is 10 million? It's just the same way that Nigerians thought that politicians will not be able to find money for election.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what kind of reasoning is this? Politicians, some of them have bank MDs that they installed as bank MDs.
yeah.
Some of them have shares, major shareholding in banks. You think when they need money, they will bring it to them where they are. And that's why I always praise this senator from Borno South. He said, look, we politicians, if we need this money, they bring it to us. It's the poor people who are suffering. This is what Emefiele and the people supporting him do not see. No one is saying, don't do this thing, don't do this thing. But there's nowhere where you do it and put this kind of time ceiling. Elsewhere, the two currencies will be legal tender. But once you take the old note into the bank, it never comes out. Gradually, they face it out.
But,
you understand?
But permit me to say this. You know, Nigerians have trouble with timelines and time frames and so on. Do you know?
That's not the reason for this one.
No, I've not said so. But I'm saying,
because that's where you are headed. You see, the truth is, we've talked about absence of banks in many areas.
Across the country.
There was an analogy that I gave here some days back. I said in Zamfara State, 17 local governments, you will find banks in only 4 towns. Just 4 towns. Kaurana Moda, Guso, Talata Mafara, and which town again? Kaurana Moda, Talata Mafara, Guso, and Shinkafi.
Okay.
Nowhere else. The whole of Sokoto, North Senatorial District, there is not one bank. 491 kilometers, 8 hours journey from Kaduna to Sokoto is only in 4 towns that you will find banks. A journey stretching across 3 states. Now, how do they bring, you need to go to some of the states of the north and see what our people are encountering. There are very few banks. I was in Yola, only one branch of Access Bank in Yola. That's the state capital, just one branch. The crowd that I saw in the bank, I was terrified. I merely wanted to transfer money to my UBA account because that's the one that I have ATM card for. The crowd was too much. Now some people have been going there for days. They can't even deposit the money because of the crowd. This is what we are talking about. Yeah. If people need to travel like 2 hours just to get to the next bank, insecurity worsens some of this situation. Now, yes, by the time you get there, you are meeting a crowd. In spite of that, even the currency is not sufficient. I always say that people can hoard only in seasons of insufficiency. Even petrol. If government wants to solve this problem today, and they flood the market with PMS, honestly, those queues will disappear. We've seen it happen before. But when you don't have enough, people will hoard, people will inflate the price. That's what is happening. There's not enough. The CBN has shown clearly its incompetence in implementing its own policy. First, there should have been no need for this short time ceiling. There's nowhere else. We were talking about the UK. We always talk about the white people. Why are we reluctant to copy the good things that they do? Over there, 2 years to change the currency.
Because we are black and because we must go on another commercial break. We'll be back, but please don't go away. Stay with us. All right, folks, let's drive this home now. Emeka, shall we talk about the CBN, the POS, and the 10% thing?
Is it not more than 10%?
More than 10%.
Huh? In places.
It all depends on how desperate you are to get money.
I was asked to give...
No, if you're asking for 5,000,
1,000.
they will take 1,000 from you.
Yeah.
Is that 1 piece? Is that 10%? That's not 10%.
It varies from place to place.
That's 20%.
That's 20%. That's not 10%.
And it depends on how desperate you are. You know, one of these guys...
And more people are desperate because they must feed their family.
One of these reality show was saying that at a party, people exchanged, 1 million naira for 700,000.
Just to spray.
Just to spray money. So if somebody is talking about procuring weapons, 10 million naira new notes, then what it says is that CBN should just, the government and central bank should just come out and apologize to Nigerians. Then...
Elsewhere, even with these pains that our people are going through, should have resigned.
He should resign because
if he has,
it's unfortunate, it's disastrous.
If he has conscience, if he has integrity as tiny as a mustard seed, for inflicting this much pain on our people, by now he should have resigned.
Yeah, because you are just making the poor people to suffer. You're just making the ordinary people. Look at people sleep at the banks.
Sorry, Emeka, let's quickly take a call from Campbell. Is reaching us from Kano. Campbell, how do you do? Good evening. Are you there?
I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
How is currency in your place?
Thank you. Hello, citizen.
Yeah, have you seen the
how is the currency problem in Kano?
Today, we are facing a serious problem in Kano. We are facing a serious problem. Let me give you an example. And we have to contribute our ATM card and submitted it to one person to go to ATM for us since morning around 5 o'clock. Up to the present that I'm telling you, you could not get anything. And all the POS around the community, they are all shut down. Nobody could collect money. In this morning, I have to beg before I can see 2,000 naira for me. That is what you are facing. In the market on Saturday, I was there. I have to contribute and buy things together on the spot. They now pay for one POS before we can carry things back home. These are the things we are facing in the country. And we have to do something about these things.
Yeah.
Thank you, citizen.
Thank you. Jimmy, our problems are man-made.
Yes. The person who came up with the idea that within so short a time, without thinking of the
fallouts,
the fact that a good number of Nigerians are unbanked. They are not money launderers. There are people who are millionaires. They've never entered a bank in their lives.
Never.
They have had cash
for cultural and religious reasons. Some of them, banks like Jay's Bank, were designed for them. They don't want interest on their money. They believe it's against their religion. But we've not done enough to even woo such people to begin to use the banks. It's a steady thing. I gave the example of South Korea when they decided to go cashless. They were giving incentives to business people, to some of them like tax holidays and all that. So those are people, they will go cashless and then be agents of that change by talking to their own customers and all that. Not that you can just impose cashless policy on us when suddenly, when we don't even have the infrastructure to back it.
Yeah.
For 3 days, I was struggling to transfer money. I couldn't.
Network.
People had money, they had network use, they could not transfer.
Yeah.
You can imagine you are even in the airport. You wanted to do transfer, you couldn't. I sent someone to buy food for my wife that was fasting. He came back to say the network was down. And there's no cash that we can use to buy the food.
Not that
so,
the cashless thing is a bad
no one is saying it's a bad thing, but we don't have the infrastructure, the payment platforms that are effective enough to support us to do it at the scale that the CBN governor wants it done. This is the point that we are making.
Emeka, at a time like this, you are looking for patriots who will stand by the country and not the government. At a time like this.
Well, are you talking about desperate people who want to milk the system or the hungry man on the street? Patriotism doesn't count at this time. People want food in their stomachs. They just want to get money. Well, what is patriotism? The hungry man. I mean, just imagine, okay, BK was talking about his wife. There's a man who can't feed his wife and children. It's not that he doesn't have money in the bank. Do you know a situation where a bank, you get into the branch of a bank, they can't even do a transfer for you? Yes. They say it's only to accounts within their own bank. So
it happened to me
so
now.
Bad. Meanwhile, CBN advertises payment platforms, charging billions. What has happened to those platforms? Have they collapsed? Or what?
Infrastructure issues
Emeka Jide, Abubakar Aliu is reaching us from Kaduna. Hello, Kaduna. Welcome. Good evening.
Thank you, Citizen Jones. Well done with your crew. Thank you very much. I want to comment on this Naira note redesign. You see, on this Naira note redesign, one is forced to think otherwise, that some people are against some people. This Buhari is supposed to understand that some people among his cabinet are cabals and they are against APC and the APC candidate. They want to incite Nigerians to go against APC and the APC candidate. That is the only reason why they are doing all these things.
Oh boy. Thank you, brother. Time is the master. We must wrap things up. Jide and Emeka, we must go.
Thank you very much.
Let's go and look for money.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, the Naira has become more elusive than the dollar now.
And you get the impression
it's easier
that
to get the dollar now.
You get the impression that what the Naira loses in speed, it gains in distance. So you are looking at it, and they think they look at you.
We don't even see him for picture, so you can't get our hands on it.
We saw it on the video.
It looks good.